Hello, everybody. My name is Ray. Welcome to the Evangelical Dark Web. Today, we're going to be talking about the Kansas pro-life referendum that absolutely failed in the Kansas primary this past Tuesday. We need to do some post-game analysis on this so we don't learn and so we learn and don't make the same mistakes repeatedly. And with that said, the main reason why this amendment failed is because it was a feminist amendment, not a real pro-life amendment. This was a very weak amendment, and again, I credit pro-life feminism with the loss here because this is an extremely feminist, pro-life feminist amendment. So let's actually look at what a Kansas ballot would have looked like. With regards to this statement. So we have this section over here. Because Kansans value both women and children, the Constitution of the state of Kansas does not require government funding of abortion and does not create or secure a right to abortion. To the extent permitted by the Constitution of the United States, the people, through their elected state representatives and state senators, may pass laws regarding abortion, including but not limited to laws that account for circumstances of pregnancy resulting from rape or incest, or circumstances of necessity to save the mother's life. And this was on, I guess, S22 relates to the Constitution of Kansas and regulation of abortion. So the background of this is I believe that Kansas passed some pro-life legislation back in the day. I don't know how long ago that was, but Kansas apparently has a Democrat majority on their Supreme Court. That's weird, but Kansas is an extremely weird state as it relates to elections and as it relates to their politics. A lot of people assume that the Midwest, or not Midwest, but those flyover states in the center of the map are conservative, but they really are not conservative. Like, Nebraska is not a conservative state. South Dakota is not really a conservative state. North Dakota is not a conservative state, and neither is Kansas. So it just goes to show, if you look at the people that they send to the Senate, they send 2 Republicans to the Senate, and they're not conservative. Guarantee it. So obviously there's some background, that just establishes the state that we're looking in. And the Supreme Court of Kansas ruled that there's a right to abortion in the Kansas Constitution. So this amendment is trying to overturn court precedent, and it goes about it in the completely wrong way. First of all, why are the words rape, incest, or necessity to save the life of a mother even being mentioned in a pro-life amendment? This is a strategic blunder. Should not be put in. Now, on the middle column here, you see the explanatory statement. This statement was drafted by the Kansas state legislature, which I assume is more Republican than Democrat. And this just kind of like blows the lid off of it. There's no stealth in this approach. It is very ham-fisted. And guess what? I recognize, as someone who's extremely pro-life, that we are not the super majority in this country. I recognize that as someone who is pro-life, I'm barely a majority in my own movement in terms of wanting to hold women accountable. We are a majority. I did a video on that earlier this week on Christianity Today and Big Eva attacking the mainstream pro-life position as fringe. So you should definitely watch that video. And, we're the majority of the movement. The people that believe that women are victims in the case of abortion are a minority in the movement, as opposed to the people who believe that women are perpetrators in the instance of abortion. So this ballot question is called the Value Them Both Amendment. That's what this amendment is called. The Value Them Both Amendment. The underlying premise of this amendment is that women are victimized by the abortion industry, and that's just not true. They're the perpetrators more often than not. And obviously, this amendment doesn't actually advance the pro-life cause much at all. It just tries to get the situation back to a neutral level. So basically, it's trying to undo a state level Roe v. Wade. And there's a lot smarter ways to do this. First of all, you could have done an equal rights amendment, a personhood amendment. Instead of bringing up rape and incest, you could have just focused on the life of the unborn and just fought there instead of trying to fight fight abortion as a right and fight that uphill battle because of the legality. It should have just simply gone in and said unborn human beings will be considered persons endowed by their creator inalienable rights according to the Kansas Constitution. They could have gone something similar to that. Or, they call it a person is a person no matter how small amendment, and they could have gone that direction. Moreover, this also shows cowardice on the part of the state legislatures, and they could have challenged the court ruling. Now, again, maybe they might have a Democrat Supreme Court there, but they could have challenged the court precedent by actually passing legislation that challenges the court precedent. So they could have done that as well. But the language of this ballot question is terrible. The explanatory statement of this ballot question does not do anything to trick normies into voting yes on it. You got to recognize that Americans don't read much. And when it comes to ballot questions, they don't read much. Just a fact. Americans are pretty stupid at the ballot box. Just a fact. So when you're being this above board, it's just bad. And the fact that you're mentioning things like rape and incest and saving a mother's life, which are three things that turn people into pro-abortion advocates all of a sudden, bad move. If anything, if they really just wanted to overturn the precedent, they should have just made it the amendment so and by boilerplate, I just mean government mumbo jumbo. They should have just said this specific court case and its precedent are hereby overturned in the Kansas Constitution. Should have said this court case and its precedent and interpretation of the Kansas Constitution is hereby overruled in this amendment. They should have just listed that, make the court case the issue, rather than making the issue, and you would have gotten yes. You probably would have gotten yes. You wouldn't have gotten blown out by nearly 20 points. So this was a bad moment for the pro-life movement. I'm hoping we can learn a lesson from it. I said it best in writing, so I guess I'll just read what I wrote and get high on my own supply. The value of them both amendment was a pro-life feminist creation in that there is an underlying premise that a woman is the victim of abortion, not the perpetrator. It prioritized this messaging over the unborn, and it failed accordingly. So I think that's the main reason that it failed. It wasn't strong enough. It wasn't smart enough. And it was also a dumb strategy. It should be said that it is a dumb strategy to rely on Republican primary voters. Really stupid group of people. No offense. But it's just true. That's why we have so many bad politicians, is because Republicans are low info voters too. Democrats might be a higher info voter group in that they are plugged into their matrix. And Republicans aren't really plugged into the matrix, or they're plugged into the enemy's matrix. And it's just hard to get good candidates in that represent your values in this environment. So that's really all I got to say about that. That's an interesting take. And you would have gotten that take earlier if you were on the Evangelical Dark Web newsletter. So just check out evangelicaldarkweb.org. Go to the sign up for the newsletter. And if you want to support this ministry, you can do that for as little as $5 a month on our Patreon-like system. Otherwise, least you can do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, help out the magical YouTube algorithms. Let me know what you think about what I think. Have a blessed day, and I will catch you on the next one.